The two main time frames that we'll be focusing on is the pre-1950s, which represented Honolulu's plantation era, post-World War II, and the years between 1950 to the early 2000s, which mainly covered the U.S. economic boom and Honolulu's tourism boom. In this presentation, we will be focusing on the significant change of industry focus from agriculture to tourism in Honolulu, as well as the effects of this industry transition on the economy through the comparison of the poverty rate and employment rate between the two time periods. From 1870s to the 1950s onwards, the agriculture industry, namely the pineapple and sugar plantation, were the biggest and main source of revenue for Honolulu's economy and Hawaii's economy in general. Although there were a few plantations throughout Honolulu, the main ones, which include AmFest and Del Monte, were the main firms within the oligopoly market. This particular industry had limited competition with only a few large firms as the producers and sellers. However, as the demand of sugar and pineapple decreased throughout the years, many plantation factories were shut down as a result, which had significant effects on the economy. The transition from agriculture to the tourism industry in Honolulu signified a change in the industry focus and era. Soon, Hawaii became a very attractive destination for tourists from all around the world. With each progressive year after the disappearance of the prominent agriculture and plantation industry, Honolulu gradually gained more and more visitors as their travel expenditure increased. The increasing numbers of hotels being established throughout Honolulu made this particular market into a pure competition where almost all firms were selling a standardized product or service, which was lodging and accommodation for the tourists. This industry has become Honolulu's largest source of revenue, bringing in a whopping $10 billion annually. With the transition of the industry, Honolulu's economy as well as the neighboring islands faced several changes and effects. We will look at the comparison of the impact this transition made in the economy. In terms of employment, during the agricultural plantation industry, there were lots of foreign workers arriving to Honolulu to work. These included Filipinos, Chinese, Koreans, and Puerto Ricans. These imported foreign workers were demanded due to the shortage of skilled labor in Honolulu at that time. However, with the transition, Honolulu's plantation industry found cheaper labor in India and thus shifted focus, which caused them to shut down several other plantations and laying off their employees. This caused the unemployment rate to go up since most of the natives and citizens worked in these plantations. This transition also significantly impacted Honolulu's economy's poverty rate. The poverty rate was relatively controlled within the 1900s to the 1950s, but with the increase in unemployment rate and higher cost of living, more and more citizens were falling beneath the poverty line. Although the poverty rate was decreasing with exception of the economic recession in 1999, which obviously had a significant impact on the economy's poor population. Due to the higher living costs, the unemployment rate in Honolulu is still quite high. Now, in terms of distribution of wealth, we will be looking at Honolulu's median household income. With the transition of industry, the median household income had a gradual increase which pushed it closer to the nation's average. According to this table, we can see that Honolulu's median household income is lower than Hawaii's but greater than the national average. From this table, we can also compare Honolulu's poverty level and unemployment rate to Hawaii and the national average. The socioeconomic status was also affected by the change in the economy structure. After several strikes throughout both areas due to the low minimum wage and inflation due to the increasing travel expenditure from the tourist industry, the government agreed to increase the minimum wage by 2018 from $7 to $10.10 per hour. The disappearance of the agriculture industry also led to a 5.7% drop in the total gross state product. Furthermore, the public welfare has also increased to $1,067 per capita in 2006 compared to the US national average. Throughout these two eras, the government has intervened in some way or another. An example would be through policies. In order to redistribute wealth and enhance the economic well-being, the transition of the industries led to the increased job opportunities as the larger workforce was demanded to work in the tourist industry. As more foreign workers were employed into the industry, there were also various strikes within both time periods to increase the minimum wage. In terms of a government intervention in the tourism era or post 1950s, the minimum wage was increased from $7 per hour to $10.10 per hour, and this was increased with the aim to increase economic activity and allow the workers to afford the higher cost of living. In addition, the government also implemented a progressive income tax in 2012 to raise the income tax of the top 2.6% of the state's taxpayers. However, there will be no tax increase for those earning less than 150,000 US dollars, 225,000 US dollars, and 300,000 US dollars a year. The main objective of implementing the tax policy is to shield families from federal tax increases and to generate $48 million a year to balance the state's budget. By establishing the Enterprise Zone program, it allowed specific counties in Hawaii, one of which being Honolulu, to identify their areas with the high unemployment and poverty rates. This program also aims to increase the job opportunities, initiate commercial investment in small businesses, and to provide subsidies for these businesses, such as lowered corporate income tax and no personal property tax. This program allows Honolulu and Hawaii in general to reduce its excise taxes and receive other social benefits. On the other hand, the government also implemented policies to enhance economic well-being. Firstly, they increased investments in the educational sector, which was a major source of economic growth. In addition, the government aimed to put more effort in upgrading the workers' skills and knowledge in order to increase output and lower income inequality. They are also focusing on education investment because it creates more job opportunities as higher class jobs that require higher level of skill enable the people to move up in the social class and escape poverty. The government also faces a scarce supply of land for development. The main challenge in this change was the laying off of workers as the economy shifted its focus between the industries as well as the opportunity cost and sacrifice of the plantation industry. The economy is also facing the challenge of a higher living cost, and this is a challenge for both the government and the economy because if their working wages are not enough to support their basic needs, the more of the population will fall below the poverty line.